Before we get rocking and rolling and shaking and baking, make sure you download and subscribe to the OutKick app. Look, you go on there, you subscribe, you like, you comment. Call me an old bald F if you would like. What do I care? You can see Charlie and then me and then Ricky and then Clay and then Hot Mike. And through the day, you got Tyrus and, of course, the great Riley Gaines. We got it all, baby, as George Costanza would say. Do this. Download, like, subscribe, and comment. I look terrible today, but I'm feeling good. Why? See what's on right here? That's Illinois State, baby. They advanced in Arch Madness with a 20-point win over Conzo Martin's Missouri State team. Yeah, and the Dakich family is headed to Arch Madness. As my brother-in-law comes in, we go out. My brother-in-law is here to fish. We're going to Arch Madness anyway. Let's start with what I just think is funny. I don't know why he does it. Well, I kind of do because I do it. Sometimes the other group just pisses you off. The other group, whether it's the other radio station, the other newspaper, the other team, the other fan base, the other people in the other house next door, the other people across the lake, they just piss you off. You don't have to say anything about them. You don't have to comment on them. You don't even have to acknowledge them. But for some point you do. Or for some reason you do, and I don't get it, and that's how I feel about this beef with Sir Charles Kendrick Perkins et al. At ESPN. And a little background, Sir Charles has been going at the dummies, the fools of ESPN for a long time because in his opinion, and he's not wrong, I'll get into that in a second, they only talk about the Lakers and the Knicks and the Celtics. That's it. They're not giving any of that good old sweet TV love to people like the Cavaliers. What about OKC? No. Well, see, here's the deal. At ESPN, that's what they tell you. They tell you, play the hits. You got to play the hits at ESPN. You got to get on set every day and talk about when Brett Favre was the man. Talk about when Aaron Rodgers was the man. And, of course, the umbrella over all of it is Tiger Woods and LeBron. Now, Tiger's, he's over there. LeBron, though, is the HMFIC. I'll let you figure out that acronym of ESPN. Or what else? Tell me. You know, the Cowboys. Who's getting the Cowboys job? Are they keeping the Cowboys job? What's Sherry Jones doing? You play the hits at ESPN, and that's what ESPN does, but it pisses Sir Charles off because Sir Charles feels like, yo, we're in the business of the NBA, whether you like us or not, whether you think we're too mean to the players, the teams, the owners, the coaches, or not. We are in the NBA business, not the Lakers business. Here's what Sir Charles had to say about that dummy over there, Kendrick Perkins.
I saw a fool idiot on TV talking about the Lakers saved the NBA.
Saved the NBA?
Yeah. He's an idiot and a fool, but he know who he is. What's his name, Shaq?
Which one you talking about?
Kendrick Perkins.
Oh.
He said the Lakers, first of all, the Lakers have had a great 2 weeks. He said the Lakers saved the NBA season. That's because them fools on the other network, which we're going to be working for next year, that's all they talk about. Let me tell y'all something.
Tell me something.
And first of all, I want all the smoke. I don't whistle when I walk by the graveyard or anything like that.
I don't whistle when I walk by the graveyard.
Right.
I like that.
Hey,
one.
man,
I'm stealing that one.
The Lakers are doing great. Got a long way to go. But the reason the season's been going great for the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Y'all just want to talk about the Warriors and the Lakers.
Is there some credit to be handed out here?
Yes. But don't say basketball's only watching now. First of all, between that and this lame-ass LeBron-Michael Jordan debate, which is lame. I've said it for years. The only people talk about LeBron and Michael is people on television who got no talent to talk about anything else. I've been saying that for years. I ain't hanging on to the 90s. I've always said LeBron's great, Michael's great. But y'all talk about it all the time and then got LeBron out there posing, talking about he all mad about being the face of the league. But it makes me mad. The Oklahoma City and the Cleveland Cavaliers are the two best stories in the NBA this year. Congratulations to the Lakers and the Warriors. They've had 2 good weeks. The Cavs and OKC have had 6 great months.
All right, he's not wrong about that. He's not wrong about the fooled part. I mean, we know that. There's nothing there with those idiots. But I'm not so sure this is going to hold up. I'm not. When I watch the Lakers, I got to tell you, they're pretty good. And when I watch LeBron, he seems to be rejuvenated. Now, it might hold up, but they're not going to lose a first-round series. Probably not going to lose a second-round series. Actually, as a second seed, they'll probably face OKC in the Western Conference Finals. But the debate on the face of the league is just stupid. It goes back to the stupidity of the NBA, and he is absolutely right. The face of the league, LeBron, blah, 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 blah. See, the NBA has it all wrong. The NBA is trying to spread these narratives. Why are ratings down? Because the stars aren't likable. Why are ratings down? Because they don't promote in the right way. What do you hear out of the NBA, the face of the league? Do you think any of us care who the face of the league is? Sure, there's a faction of people out there that do. You think any of us care about a GOAT debate? No. What we care about is what David Stern understood when he built the league. Tell me about your stars. Look, basketball, you run around in your underwear. You do. Your face is there. Football, you got a bucket on your head. I was a very, very nondescript basketball player at Indiana, but I was 100 times more popular than any football player because nobody knew who they were. Yeah, you had a quarterback, great guy, but damn, nobody knew who he was. He had a helmet on. Maybe you thumbed through the damn program to see. I learned that a long time ago. Basketball, look, if you're going to make the NBA right and get it back to where it should be, it needs to be, you got to promote the stars, and the stars can't be jackasses. Like the stars can't be Kevin Durant. I've talked about this before, shooting back. Blah, 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 blah. You can't. You can't. I'm sorry. But I don't know, Sir Charles. You know I love you a long time. But the truth of the matter is, I don't know, man. Those Lakers look pretty damn good, and they should be sending bouquets every day of whatever the finest chocolates, steaks, lobster to Nico Harrison for gifting them Luka Doncic. Now, of course, Stephen A. Smith had to chime in on this. Yo, Chuck, stop the BS with y'all. Attach a name to it. He did. Kendrick Perkins, dumbass. That's what he did. I know I've been talking about the Cavs being the number one threat to the Celtics. Once you come over here, there's going to be some folks waiting to call you a fool. P.S., you know I love you, though. See y'all soon. See, he's a classic bully, this guy. He knows he ain't bullying Charles Barkley. That's why when you see Mad Dog come on with this guy here, Smith, that's why he's reverent, because he knows Mad Dog will come back at him. All his little minions, the little girls, the DEI hires that Stephen A. Smith has on his shows, he's got them all to hate McAfee. He's got them all in his little corral. But he ain't doing that with Kenny Smith. He ain't doing that with Charles or Shaq. They're bigger than he is in terms of people's perception, certainly in basketball. So he's got to kiss Charles's ass and Kenny Smith's ass and Shaq's ass. That's all horse shit. But the truth of the matter is Charles Barkley did attach a name to it. The big stupid, the big racist. He could have called Kendrick Perkins that, and we would have all known who he was talking about. Instead, they said Kendrick Perkins. Last I looked, that's the fella's name. Am I wrong about that? No. So keep doing your thing, Charles, but I got to tell you, we talk honestly here. I don't know, man. I don't know if not getting behind the Lakers and saying it's only been a few weeks is going to hold water. I don't think it is. I think the Lakers are pretty good. I think the Lakers are on their way towards being a legit team. I'm not talking about an entity of players. I'm talking about a team. And LeBron seems rejuvenated. Luka seems like he's in shape, and the rest of the team has no choice but to follow suit. I don't know, but it's going to be fun. It's always fun when Charles gets involved. It's always stupid when Stephen A. Smith gets involved. However, I ain't mad at this. I ain't mad, speaking of Stephen A. Smith, I ain't mad even a little bit at Stephen A. Smith getting a big contract. I mean, when I say I ain't mad, I ain't mad. And here, let me go back to something. Here is what Charles Barkley was responded to, if we can put this up, by Kendrick Perkins. Hey, NBA on TNT might want to tell senior citizen Charles Barkley that I'll be around. When you see an idiot and a fool in person, make sure you keep that same energy. You can come playing with me if you want to, and I'm gonna address his ass like the numbers on a house. Straight from the 409, homeboy. and we bar none and fade all. All right. All right. I mean, if this is a way to promote the NBA on TNT, it's pretty good. And you know what? I don't blame Kendrick Perkins for doing this. It's right here. I don't blame him. But he just shows he's an idiot. I'm going to address his ass like the numbers on a house. Straight from the 409, homeboy. And we bar none and fade all. Man, I tell you what. There's some geniuses out there. And Kendrick Perkins is what we bar none and fade all. See, he's not funny when he does it. And that's the difference. Charles Barkley talks about, I don't whistle when I go by the graveyard. Charles is funny. These idiots get all worked up. These fools get all worked up. And Charles just effing with them. I'm gonna treat you like a house. Okay. All right. Back to Stephen A. Smith. I ain't mad at this. A lot of people are mad at this. I ain't mad at this. Stephen A. Smith is now ESPN's $100 man. That's right. As the First Take host, he's not an NBA analyst, podcaster, talk show host, guest, has agreed to a 5-year deal that's going to pay him a 9-figure salary. Good for him, according to The Atlantic's Andrew Marchand. Smith previously made $12 million a year, so he nearly doubled his salary on the worldwide leader after months of speculation about his contract. ESPN has said, screw that. We're not worried about you talking politics anymore because, well, you're an African-American dude. White dudes, no. So Stephen A. Smith's contract is going to allow him, free him up to dive deeper into political discussion, a shift he's been hinting at for a while. Let me ask you a question. This is where I'm bad. If Stephen A. Smith did what other networks have done with him and just fired him and said, yeah, we ain't paying you, you think it'd matter? It's a serious question. I'm going to ask Danny Z and I'm going to ask Hammer. Do you really think it would matter? Like somebody would host a show and it'd be fine. Somebody that'd get better people, they wouldn't be holden to him. This is the way I think. I would be a bad manager. Gary, don't think this way. Aaron, don't think this way. But would it really matter? Like, it's ESPN. They're not making money off that radio show. They're not making money off First Take, maybe some, but they're making money off their games, all that kind of stuff. Having the NBA, I don't know if that's making them money. They figured the Major League Baseball wasn't a big deal. But ESPN could develop another star. So instead of acquiescing to people, why wouldn't they say, look, we're paying you $12 million. That's a fair wage. That's what we got. You don't want it? Go host your own. Go to CNN. Go to Fox. There'll be a bidding war. But do you really think that network at this time in place really needs any one person on it? There really isn't anybody on that network other than McAfee that really moves the needle. People listen to Stephen A. Smith. He's a character of himself. He's whatever. I don't find him to be particularly interesting, but that's fine. I don't begrudge him the $20 million. I want him to make $20 million. I want everybody in the media, including here at OutKick, everybody. I mean, from managers to bosses to owners to I don't care. I want everybody to get fat. But I always think this way. It's like a guy coming over, Archie Miller, to coach Indiana from Dayton. You don't have to give him triple his salary. You want to stay coach at Dayton? Stay coach at Dayton. Stephen A. Smith, you want him not be on ESPN? That's fine, but 12 mil's plenty. 12 mil's enough. Seriously. Now listen to this. Smith, although Smith will stay on First Take, his daily daytime show on ESPN, the tireless worker will not be seen so extensively on the network. So they're going to give him $20 million to be on the network less. This is what I'm talking about. One source told The Atlantic he will no longer be a centerpiece on NBA pregame shows, but might begin making some Monday Night Football appearances. Well, he was terrible. And this is the thing you got to understand. Not one single human being turned on the TV on an NBA pregame, halftime, postgame show to watch Stephen A. Smith's opinion on basketball. Not one. Now, somebody may turn it off. Somebody may stay with it because they hear something. But that show has been terrible for years. That's why the NBA on TNT is coming over. That's one of the reasons. So you got to understand that. This is what I don't understand about ESPN. I don't. Here's my thing. You got to pay, my opinion, the best play-by-play guys, whether it's hockey or baseball. They don't have baseball, football, basketball. You got to. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman have solidified Monday Night Football. These opinion guys like Smith and others, I don't see the point in paying them. Now, I don't have the finances in front of me, but they just told you they are paying Stephen A. Smith $20 million to do less. He will not appear so extensively on the network. Does that really make sense to you? So it does beg the question, why? Why are they paying Stephen A. Smith this kind of money? Bobby and others feel like they got forced into it. I don't want to speak for Bobby Barack, but this has been a conversation. They don't want to be race card. And I don't think that's it. I don't think anybody with half a brain, now remember, most people don't have half a brain, but I don't think anybody with half a brain would say, well, they're only paying him $15 million. They must be racist. No, I don't understand guys running media groups. They say they're broke, their stock goes down, they lay off people, but they're going to pay a guy $20 million that they're already paying $12 million. That seems like that $8 million could go somewhere else. They needed McAfee. They needed something to jumpstart game day, and they got it. They needed him. Him being a part of that network probably saved that show, which is a big-time show, but they would still have had the show. It just wouldn't have been as entertaining. They wouldn't have been selling many sponsorships. Pat's midday show is fine. I don't know. If they didn't have that and they just showed highlights all day like they used to, what would be the financial ramifications? But I'm guessing Smith's show does okay. He says they're number one in that slot, but there's no way really to tell that. You could always say you're number one. I'm number one here in Indy. In streaming, yes. Over the airwaves, no, because we got a bad signal. But so what? You can couch it any way you want. But anyway, I am good. I am really good with Smith getting this money. I want everybody to get fat. You know, nobody needs $20 million, but nobody needs $60 million if you're Jaylen Brown. So what? Next time ESPN tells you they don't have any money, they're full of crap. ESPN did to ESPN what Doge is doing to the government. ESPN realized at one point we got too much fat, so about 4 or 5 years ago they started cutting people. And they cut good people. And then the quality went down because they got DEI hires instead of the actual people that should be doing it, black or white. But don't tell me ESPN doesn't have any money. Just gave $20 million for a guy to work less. Don't make no sense. The woke media, I have an answer for this. The woke media is pissed off, and you knew this was coming. Juju Watkins is a sophomore. She plays at Southern California, University of Southern California, and she's really good. First time I saw her play last year, I'm like, damn, she's really good. So they have twice beat the number one team in the country, UCLA. It's great. Really good game the other night. Big crowd, big audience, fantastic. It's the continuation of Caitlin Clark. But here's the problem. People are bitching, whining, and moaning. The woke media is bitching, whining, and moaning because, well, she's not getting the same, quote, love from everybody that Caitlin Clark did. They're up in arms. Juju Watkins, what? She's not receiving the love, the media treatment. All right, here's the deal. Let me just, they're calling the lack of media coverage inexplicable. Maybe she's not good enough? No. She is good enough. She's terrific. But her game we've seen. Like we've never seen, this is what people don't understand. We've never seen Caitlin Clark's flair. We've not seen it. We just haven't. I'm sorry. You can say it's race. Whatever you'd like to say, doesn't matter. Juju Watkins is really good and might be the best of all time. But for us, the game doesn't translate. After Caitlin Clark's historic college career, sports media seem poised to pounce on college women's basketball coverage, but the failure to celebrate Juju Watkins tells another story. Yeah, all right, I guess. I mean, what's the story? The story is, yes, she's really good. We saw dunkers before we saw Michael Jordan. Why'd Michael Jordan take off? We saw three-point shooters before Steph Curry. Why'd Steph Curry take off? There was a flair there. They won. They won big. When asked about Watkins' performance against UCLA last week, Stephen A. Smith succinctly responded, she's spectacular, but when are we going to talk about her the same way we're talking about Caitlin Clark? We're not. I mean, it's literally that simple. Why? We've seen the game. I said this before about Angel Reese. We've seen Angel Reese's game. We saw what Juju Watkins is doing in Diana Taurasi. Is she the next one? Sure. Yes. But she don't have the flair, the style, that Caitlin Clark has. Now, in reality, Caitlin Clark couldn't start on a good boys team, but okay. That's fine. We're not comparing that. You are. I'm not. Her flair, her style, her abilities make her more interesting than any women's player ever. We've seen Brittany Griner, and all of a sudden, here comes Angel Reese. We've seen Diana Taurasi and Asia Wilson, and here comes Juju Watkins. We've seen it. We have. I mean, it's like, all right, why did Michael Jordan hit? Because Michael Jordan had a flair to his game. Why did Steph Curry hit? Because he had a flair to his game. Why did Magic Johnson, Larry Bird hit? Because they had a flair to his game. Why hasn't LeBron hit? Because there's a stiffness there. And LeBron might be the best of all of them. That's up for you to decide, not me. The discrepancy in coverage between the two is both stark and telling. Clark, I'm never saying this, deserved her praise, jackasses. When did we start with this, her flowers? When did we start with this, Aaron? When did this come about, her flowers? I ain't saying that. What are you, idiots? Awful announcing. Anyway, and Juju Watkins is more than poised to reach the same heights Clark did, and Watkins may even exceed Clark's success if USC can win a national championship before Watkins' career ends. I would bet on her to win a national championship. She's the best basketball player I've seen in the women's game. Now, I'm just going to tell you. You know, years ago, Ann Myers, brother of David Myers, the Spider-Man that played with Bill Walton, tried out for the Pacers. And one of the dummies, and it might have even been Red Auerbach, who is not one of the dummies, may have said not only is Ann Myers one of the best basketball players in the world, she's one of the best basketball players in the world regardless of sex. So I watched this tryout, and I'm like, yeah, she doesn't start on our high school team. It doesn't. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. And if you want to get mad at it, you want to call me names, do it. But a good high school team kicks these girls' ass, and Clay Travis put $1 million up on it. So if you're going to not be as good as the NBA, if you're going to not be as good as the men in college, if you're not going to be as good high school teams, what do you got to have? You got to have a flair. And Caitlin Clark has a flair. Shooting deep, way deep. Same reason we like Steph Curry. I mean, Steph Curry was great, captured the imagination, think about it, of the country in the NCAA tournament like Clark. Comes into the league. Now, the league is a lot better, right? Comes into the league, takes him a minute. Next thing you know, he's a superstar. Caitlin Clark comes into the league, and she's better than everybody, and the little girls can't handle it. They're jealous. The media's jealous. Everybody's jealous. Little white straight girl. So they start beating on her. And here's the key. She shuts up. She doesn't open her mouth because, let's face it, we've seen that too. We've seen the open-mouth, dumbass basketball player. We haven't really seen one that's getting the hell beat out of her, kicking everybody's ass and remain silent, classy, and with grace. We haven't seen that. We did now. Caitlin Clark. I hope Juju Watkins. I think Juju Watkins, as I said, is terrific. I hope they win a national championship because I want to see women's sports continue to grow. But if we're going to have a serious conversation about it and not just say it's race, I just gave it to you. All right. Pat McAfee, oh boy. Pat McAfee revealed that he and his family have been receiving death threats. Yeah, death threats from people that are still somehow offended by his recent comments in which he chastised Canadians for booing the American national anthem at a WWE event. At a WWE event. Now think about what a WWE event is. I just went to one. It's great. It's high energy. It's violence. It's fake violence as well. It's drama. It's made-up drama. I mean, you Canadians, you're so stupid, you get offended by a guy with the national anthem. Can I see that bigger, please? You get offended because a guy said something at a freaking WWE event? Let me have a look. Oh, man. Punter, boo, anytime, anywhere. Sack up for once. Name it, I'll be there, man. Well, I get this every day. I mean, I've never seen... I get that literally every day. Missouri fans haven't exactly been very loud since they got their ass beat the other day by Oklahoma, and my guy Tamar Bates went for like 7 in a big game. But I got to tell you, I get that every day. Now, I'm not Pat McAfee, so nobody really gives a rat's ass, but I legitimately, every time I make a big brown chair and somebody doesn't like it, people throw around the F word, I'm going to kill you, I'll beat your ass, blah, 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 blah. Good for Pat, though. Good for Pat calling it out. Now, here's the deal, man. People are deeply disturbed. I don't know if I still have them here. I may have gotten rid of them, but I screenshotted them. I did. I screenshotted them, and I put them out a few weeks ago. Because, you know what? I want it out. I'm not going to run and hide from this. But, hey, man, I did get rid of them. Oh, they're still in my phone, though. They're still in my DMs. Man, they're in my DMs. Sliding into my DMs. West Virginia, Missouri, some Indiana fans, Purdue, Illinois. What are you going to do? It's all the same. Anyway, Pacman Jones. What do I tell you? It's always the same people. Pacman Jones in the news. Remember him? Remember Adam Pacman Jones always getting in fights, getting busted, doing stupid stuff, just a complete idiot. But he's very popular. I saw him at a Pacers game a couple years ago, and people just flocked to him. I mean, flocked. Like, oh, Pacman Jones. Being an idiot, it does sell. It does. Pacman Jones made a rather eye-opening admission. He did. During a recent appearance on Deion Sanders' weekly Tubi show, saying since his retirement, he used to smoke weed before playing games, though he was never caught by the league. Because drug tests, he figured out how to cheat them. I cheated the program. I was really good. People don't know how smart I am. That's true. All evidence to the contrary, West Virginia's biggest idiot, Pacman Jones, is really smart, according to Pacman Jones. Okay. People don't know how smart I am, but I can say it now. I don't play anymore, but I've never used my urine for a urine test. Not one time. Not one time. The reason it can't happen now is because they go in there, the bathroom with you. They go in there and watch you pull it out. All right. They did that in Indiana 100 years ago. What are you talking about? What's the NFL doing? The NFL didn't want to catch Pacman Jones. The NFL didn't want to catch certain players. That's why they didn't go in there. But in 2008, the guys went in with a guy, a urine specialist, a urinologist, not a urologist, a urinologist. Somebody made a tellywhacker viewer, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But come on. They've been doing that since 2008. Nobody went in there with the Pacman Jones because they didn't want to. On a related note, in early December of the past year, the NFL and the NFL Players Association agreed to loosen drug policy. Of course they did. They don't want to catch these guys. I bought a ticket and some dude smokes weed and he's out. Stop. With one notable change being the level of THC required to trigger a positive cannabis test increased from 150 nanograms to 350. Yeah, just smoke a little weed. I mean, look, smoking weed, I don't understand this. This is something that I would ask anybody, anytime, anywhere. Everybody says you get high, you get pulled over, right? Indiana, weed is not legal, but if you drive down the street and the guy like half a mile ahead of you smoking weed, you smell it even through your car. Like, it would be like pouring booze on your car on a still day. Like a bunch of booze, and it smells like not vodka, because vodka doesn't smell. It smells like Jack Daniels as you're driving your car next to a cop. It happens every day here. Somebody smokes weed, and I swear to God, you can smell it, and nobody's around you. You're like, who the hell's smoking weed? Then you pull up on the highway, and this guy's smoking weed, and it's not legal. How do we do this? How is this safe driving? I don't know. But anyway, the NFL is saying, we don't care. And this isn't the first time. The NFL said, we don't care if they didn't have a guy go in there and hold the pee-pee. They don't actually hold the pee-pee, but you know what I'm saying. They're in there with the pee-pee. You don't hold the pee-pee. You stare at the pee-pee. Make sure the urine is coming out of the pee-pee hole. They didn't do that with Pacman because they didn't want to catch him. All right, what are we going to do? Oh, no. Barry Bonds is back. Guess who's back? Back. Barry's back. Old head Barry is back. He took some shots. He's taking shots at Shohei Ohtani. Really? All right. Inferring that today's Major League Baseball players don't police each other like they used to back in Bonds' day. Ohtani, all right, this is interesting. I have thoughts on this, is not going to hit 2 home runs without seeing go right in here at his head In my generation, I don't care what he does. All right, let me explain what I've always said about Barry Bonds. And Nick will agree with this. Nick played college baseball at a really high level. I played college baseball 1 year. But I got to tell you, when you play baseball, one of the things you have to overcome to be a really good hitter is fear of being hit. You stand in there, a right-handed. Why do you think people bailed out that are lefties when Randy Johnson threw that thing 99.999 miles an hour from the side? Why? Fear of being hit. Barry Bonds is a bigger fraud than Ohtani with this. I never saw anybody ever before Barry Bonds, left-handed batter, he had armor going all the way down. He had armor here on his side. See, by wearing armor, elbow pads, boom, he had the whole thing covered. And obviously a helmet. By having the whole thing covered, you, in your own mind, reduce the fear of getting hit by a baseball. So while Bonds may talk about this, I would ask, how many times did he get hit by a pitch in his record-setting season? Now, Bonds is full of shit here. He is the first guy that wore complete body armor on the shoulder facing the pitcher, this one, as he was a left-handed batter. This always pissed me off. It did. And now he's talking about getting hit. Stop it, stupid. Just stop it. You're the one that wore body armor. That's it. You wore the whole thing. The pitching and hitting has been outstanding. He's a complete player. There's no doubt about the type of player he is and what he's accomplished in his career. The game has just changed. The game is way different when I play. Okay, everything's different. All right, same way Michael talks about it or anybody else. Ohtani is not going to hit 2 home runs without seeing one go right here at his head in my generation. That's bullshit. No. I don't care what he does. He's not going to steal 2 bases without someone trying to decapitate his kneecap to slow him down because it was a different game back then. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. They should be better than us. They are. Well, but they're not taking roids. They're better than what you were pre-roids because they can hit a home run, flip the bat up in the air, get a taco, come back down, have a limo, drive around. All these antics that we weren't allowed to do. If I did that, I'd be in the hospital. But there ain't no way I'm going to see a baseball again. No, bull, crap. No, you're full of crap. I said that one time to Rich Donnelly, longtime third base coach, who coached Bonds in Pittsburgh with Jim Leland. I want you to just hit the guy the next time up because that's not the way you play. Because that's the way you played in the 50s. Now, this is in the This is in the heyday of Bonds. This is late 90s, early 2000s. He's full of crap. And he was the guy. He was the guy that put on the protection. No, he's full of crap right there. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Bill Simmons, who talks, I don't know. He's a big Boston and New England Patriots fan, is not sold on Tom Brady having influence within the Las Vegas Raiders. He's not sold that is a good thing. All of the evidence with the great players we've had, name the sport, mostly they're not good at this. Well, Magic Johnson is, but Magic Johnson no longer or never has since he got out of the GM role. He just owns. He just chills. He just takes credit. He shows up at the parade, holds the trophy, drinks the champagne, smokes a cigar. But Bill Simmons is not wrong about this. Go ahead. Let's hear from Bill Simmons.
Tom Brady. I love Tom Brady. Brought me 6 Super Bowls. One of my favorite athletes of all time. This is a dangerous thing where you have him running a football team, thinking he knows what's best with quarterback because he was a great quarterback. Because all of the evidence with the great players we've ever had, name the sport, mostly they're not good at this. They they think they're seeing things that other people don't see, and it's not actually rational. Like Magic Johnson, Lonzo Ball got hurt, obviously, but Magic Johnson took Lonzo Ball over Jason Tatum, right? You have like Wayne Gretzky ran a hockey team. How did that go? I'm trying to think. Who was?
I don't have much on the Coyotes. Were they no good? Was Shane Doan not good enough? I don't know.
But Michael Jordan ran the Charlotte Hornets / Bobcats forever.
Big Sean May guy.
Couldn't have been worse. Steered them toward Kwame Brown at the Wizards. Steered them toward Kwame Brown over Pau Gasol and those guys because he liked what he saw from Kwame Brown in a workout. Like, I don't know if I trust the greatest players ever on stuff like this. I'm just saying it's not a slam dunk, but I think part of the problem is if you and I are in that room with Tom Brady And we're like, yo, man, we think Darnold, like, look
He
at
might
these first
dismiss him
17.
right away.
And
Yeah.
Brady's like, I'm out. I watched that game. He doesn't have it. I'm out. Are we going to argue with Tom Brady?
Yeah.
So it's just now it's like this one voice that just sees what
I'm
he wants to
fascinated.
see.
It's hard to argue. It is. I mean, it is really, really hard to argue. I mean, like incredibly hard. Like, look, but you know what? Depends on his level. Because he's right. You know, former players are smarter than you. Former players walk in, they're smarter. I've always said this. It takes 5 years. 5 years for a former player to become a human being. Because they still think they're smarter, they got more money, blah, 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 blah. They still get stopped. Yeah. I've always said two things. Never trust a former Indiana basketball player that played for Bob Knight in a business deal. Now, you can say, well, I wouldn't trust you. Fine, do whatever you want. But I'm a pretty good teammate. But I've always said that because they're very entitled. I recognize it. Very entitled. And the second thing, well, it takes 5 years for a professional athlete to become a human being. Sometimes it takes 5 years for a college athlete to become a human being.